Hello, my name is Marco Reyes, and I decided to do the poem by Robert Frost. That is The Road Not Taken. I think it's from 1915. I did like a little history research on it before I actually read it, and I'm just gonna get into it. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair and perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay, and leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I ever should come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I really like this poem because it's the author or the speaker is just on a walk, like going through the woods, and he's like two paths, and these like two paths are symbolic for like choices in life. You can go to the one that everybody else travels by, or you can go into the new road, or like not a new road, but the one that's traveled by or not taken. And taking the one that isn't traveled by in his experience has made all the difference. And I feel like I can relate that to like, oh, and where I live in Frankfurt, a lot of the people just go straight to like a factory, and that's like the end. They just do that for the rest of their lives. And I didn't really want to do that. I'd like to think that I took the road less traveled by, and I believe that it's making all the difference. I'm learning all this hard math, engineering stuff. I feel like I would have been bored to death. And I'm really glad that I made that choice. Yeah. But analyzing the poem, like as I read it, so I did like my background on it. Robert Frost wrote this to his friend and kind of wrote it as like a joke about, like, with the idea in mind that some people like overanalyze poems that are just, there's no deeper meaning in it. But I think he unintentionally made a deeper meaning in it. Not like a deeper meaning. And like looking back at this, you can see where like, oh, it's deep, and then like he just like, yeah, it's not really that deep. He's like, sorry, I could not travel both. And he said that one looked like different, but like you can't see, like it's not taken as often. But then he like goes back and says, yeah, they're about the same. He says, then took the other just as fair. I'm like, yeah, they're the same path. Because also another point, like where like they look almost exactly the same, or they are pretty much the same, is when he said had worn them really about the same. So they were different, but then he's like, looking at deeper, they're not different. And like reading that, I'm like, oh, maybe like me just going to college isn't as like big of a difference, because at the end of the day I'm still working a job, which kind of plays into Robert Frost's thing about them just being the same and having no really deeper meaning. But I hope that's not the case. And further like delving deep into where you can see bits and pieces of him making a joke out of it, is and both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trotted black. He's basically saying they look the same, even more. But after that, he says, "Yet knowing how ways lead onto way." He already knows where all the paths go. He's just choosing to take the one more taken, or taking the one less taken. He knows what both roads lead to, and yeah, I feel like that's how you can tell he's making a joke about it, or that's how I feel like how he says it, like, or how I read it makes me understand that yeah, this poem's kind of like a joke or making fun of like the deeper meaning. But I heard Robert Frost is a pretty good poet. Yeah. That is my speech on a poem, which is The Road Not Taken.